Another rainy night in the Willamette Valley, but you just can't keep them away. Last week, Oregon State drew a school record sellout crowd of 9,042 against Air Force. Tonight, they make history once again as number 11, Oregon State hosts Fisk University for the first time ever. It's women's collegiate gymnastics. It's live on Pac-12 Insider, and it features two of the nation's best all-arounders in Fisk, Morgan Price, and Oregon State's Jade Carey, who is the #1 all-arounder in the country. She's been here for 4 years. She's won Olympic medals, but she's still the same kid. Now a senior, Jade Carey. You'll see her tonight in action. Hi, everybody. Jim Watson, Elisa Mao. Welcome to Gill Coliseum. This building has been here for 76 years. So, of course, it's seen a lot of history. But last week against Air Force, Jade Carey was simply spectacular. She defied description. 39,925 out of possible 40. It's a ridiculous score. It's the greatest in school history, one of the best in NCAA. She had not one, but 2 perfect 10s, including one of those that came on the balance beam.
And 1,9975 on bars.
That's
so
right.
one
Could
judge,
have been another,
could have been another, would have been one of the highest scores in collegiate history. But Jade had yet to score a 10 at home in Gill Coliseum on the balance beam. What a movie script ending to do it in front of a sellout record crowd on senior night. She's the #1 ranked beam worker in the country, has not scored under 9.9 on that event this season. And then she had yet to go to floor, the event where she's an Olympic gold medalist. She was perfect again there to close the meet. Owns the hardest tumbling passes being performed in the NCAA. Just a special night for a special athlete.
Yeah, and she's done just about everything in her time in Corvallis. She has turned the Oregon State record book into an autobiography. She has the top 18 all-around scores in school history. Oregon State has a great gymnastics history. They have a lot of great talent that's come through here. She has the 18 best. You saw the graphic there. It's the #4 best all-time all-around score in the history of collegiate gymnastics. Let's turn our attention to Fisk University. It's a private school in Nashville. They've only had gymnastics for 3 years. Morgan Price is the star. She could have gone anywhere. She was being coveted by SEC schools. She decided she wanted to go to one of the HBCU schools and start something. Well, she has. In fact, she made history earlier this year.
She made history in this bar routine at Temple when she scored the first perfect 10 in HBCU history. She also is the reigning USAG national champion. She can go over 9.95 on every single event. She has an exceptional balance of artistry, difficulty, poise, and was part of that inaugural team that founded gymnastics at Fisk. She was committed to Arkansas, where her sister Frankie competes today. Really excited to watch her.
You said she's great across the board. She has 3 new career highs. She's top 25 in the all-around. Well, she looks to defend her national title this year, but tonight, it's history. #11, Oregon State hosting Fisk University. History made here at Gill Coliseum on Pac-12 Insider. Beavs Gymnastics has always been popular in Corvallis, but this year it has reached new heights, led by, of course, Jade Carey, but they're great across the board. Oregon State ranked 11th right now. They're 13-7, but they're coming off one of their all-time highest scores, a 197.7 for Tanya Chaplin and the Beavs last week against Air Force Academy. Chaplin, incredibly now in her 28th season. Of course, she is Oregon State's all-time winningest coach, and tonight will be her 805th gymnastics meet. The only thing I've done 805 times is nap. That's amazing.
That's quite a record there.
Naria Mack is the head coach at Fisk University, and her family has a tie, of course, here to Oregon State. We'll get to that in a second. She started the year as their meet director and social media manager. She was a gymnast in college, competed at Kent State, was a pretty good beamer back in the day. Her younger sister, Nayo, is the team manager, but she traces back here to Oregon State in their gymnastics program. Sydney Smith will start things off for Fisk. Natalie Briones for Oregon State on the vaults.
Really nice start for Natalie Briones on that Yurchenko full vault, worth a 9.95. That means it's the highest score that it can get. She's so solid for them in the leadoff on vault and on bars. Coming off a season high 9.85 against Air Force, second time she's done it this year. Now we move over to the Lady Bulldogs of Fisk University, just in their third year of collegiate gymnastics. There's Sydney Smith, the sophomore, to start things out. There's no chance for Fisk to win this meet. They're just not at Oregon State's level. It's not to take anything away from them. Fisk is building a gymnastics program. They're traveling all over the country. They're getting attention because of the exploits of Morgan Price, but they go deeper than that. Sydney, great in the leadoff for them. So clean thus far with her Maloney down to the pack. She'll do a toe-on dismount, so you see a combination here. Oh, she did that last week, but we're seeing a new one today, and a double twist. Love that dismount.
Well, she's been hot lately, coming off a career best 9.7 last week.
Really incredible seeing just different skills. You'll see different skills from Fisk across the events. And I misspoke, she did do this last week. I remember gasping when I saw it. It's so difficult to get two twists done, rotate, find the floor. She just did a great job in leadoff for them.
And we told you that they're deeper. They sent 5 gymnasts to the USAG championships last year, and that's where Morgan Price won her all-around championship, the first gymnast from an HBCU school to do so. Still waiting for the score on Briones. Olivia Buckner will be next up for Oregon State.
She's really quite a versatile athlete for them. She's gone in on every event at a different point, subbed in on beam after an injury last year, has found herself in the floor lineup after another injury this year. And just a sophomore, Jade Carey in particular talked about the sophomore class really stepping up, which is important given how many upperclassmen they have on the roster right now.
So Briones goes 9.775 in the opener for the Beavs. Chaplin in the background, and Buckner at the end of the runway. She's been in the vault lineup for the last 5 meets, was in once earlier this year, season best 9.825 last week, right here.
And just as the full today, we've also seen her do the 1.5 very well. But with the difficulty on the 1.5, sometimes you can play it easier and get the same score on a full. It's nice and clean, a little bit of a shoulder angle on the table. It's very different training the full versus training the 1.5, different techniques. So kudos to her for being able to switch.
So you trade off a lower start value, but less risk.
Less risk, exactly.
9.6 scores in for Sydney Smith now on bars in their opener. And Zaya Coleman will be next to go. Zaya Coleman, a junior from Atlanta. Been in the bars lineup all season long. Her best came in that meet at Temple, 9.675, but she has a 9.775 on her resume from last year.
Coach Mack said bars is not her favorite event, but at the beginning of the season they were really low on depth, and she said anyone who had grips was going to get a bar routine together. So here's this toe on front dismount I mentioned, a front tuck, had to learn that in the offseason. Really great job just to stay on the bars for that. Now there were some built-in deductions, not everything was perfect in handstand, but she has just been doing this bar routine this season, so really impressive to see how they are building depth and putting in athletes across events.
And the great thing about a school like Fisk, and we've seen this in other sports, is you watch them, they develop a program, and it's not easy to start a gymnastics program. Besides drawing athletes, you gotta have a facility, you gotta have all the equipment, you gotta have great coaching. But it'll be fun to watch them as they build over the years. And Tanya Chaplin in the background giving Fisk a great opportunity tonight against a big name school. Buckner went 9.725. Sophia Esposito.
Fellow sophomore with the Urchenko full as she was coming down. I thought maybe she would find the stick on that landing like she has done before. She can also do a double. She is so powerful for them. Really, really great member of their sophomore class. Nice body position.
She's got a win on vault this year. 3 times she's gone 9.85 or better, including her last 2. Best score of the year was a 9.925 against San Jose State. We'll see what mark they give her there. Score not in yet for Coleman. In the meantime, Allie Berkeley chalking up the bars. Berkeley, a junior from Memphis, and originally began her career at Lindenwood and then transferred.
And when the Lindenwood program ended last year, Nuri Mack said they wanted to get Allie for vault, and she had only really done vault at Lindenwood, and she said, again, you've got grips, we're putting you in bars, and Allie will do all around like she's done a couple times this season, and learned this Tkachev, put it in you know, under the lights. Just really done a great job. Also, club teammates of the Mack sisters at Gym Stars. She said she remembered coaching her for just a little bit.
Besides all the other challenges that Fisk has to go through, all of their meets are on the road. I think they've only had one that was considered a home meet this year. So they're traveling everywhere right now. They're the Washington Generals. They're always the visiting team.
So she will start off with the Tkachev here. Facing the bar, see if you can get it turned over and grab. Oh, so close. The execution on that is fantastic. It's great height.
I was going to mention the amplitude because she exploded off the lower bar.
Yep, and so that's just a timing issue. She needs to hold on a hair longer right there.
They're just going to get back to it.
Yeah, so her grips are on the bar, but at the top of your grip, there's a dowel. There's a piece of wood underneath the leather that helps you hang on to the bar. So the dowel didn't get over the bar to allow her to hang on. But when she catches that, what a powerful same bar release move. The support from this Gill crowd is something that they talked about, being excited to perform for them because they appreciate good gymnastics. Just heard them give her a great ovation. I think she's going to repeat it again. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so just at that point, you're tired. It's hard to get back up and do that skill. At this point, I assume she'll move on to the latter half of her routine.
I love how brave she was. She went forward again. The crowd loved it.
Yeah, I like.
She's a bit closer that time.
I want to watch that Tkachev again. She'll get it on the 3rd time.
She gets a minute to go over rechock and then remount the apparatus. She's in no hurry. Just kind of get herself centered again. And the crowd, listen in. There they come. They're right with her. That's awesome.
To go from a one event specialist to the all around just shows you how talented she is. So it's really hard when you're out of rhythm like this to come and do your transition to the low bar. So does the overshoot. She would have connected that into the Tkachev. So she'll close with a combination here. Nice handstand. Does the blindfold. And just to lay out, really smart decision there. She planned to do a double tuck, but the turning positions didn't land exactly where she should on that blind full. And so she made the smart decision to just do the layout because clearly that score will be one that they hope to drop.
Allie's going to have some other chances tonight. She's in the all-around again, I think for the 4th time in 5 meets. She finished 2nd in the all-around behind her teammate Roseby last week. Meantime, we go back over to Oregon State. Esposito just put up the top number, 9.825. Kaitlin Garcia.
Really good block off the table, but takes that step to the side, just a little bit of under rotation. It's almost like she traveled a little farther than she had rise. You want to see a good balance of height and distance. And from this angle, she was pretty high on the table, which means you want to have really, really open shoulders to get the best block. Hers were closed because she was too high on. And feels like the bars judges are going to take a while to put this score together. So could be a bit of a wait here for Kiara Richmond.
Richmond's already going through it psychologically in her head, just trying to picture everything. We told you Fisk is in Nashville. It's an older school, founded way back, what, 1866, the year after the Civil War ended. So the enrollment, just over 1,000 right now, first HBCU to compete in women's gymnastics. They're trying to add others. We said Lindenwood had been in there before. Talladega is another school that is trying gymnastics. I saw this same thing happen in men's volleyball, and schools on the West Coast, UCLA, Pepperdine, would go back and play HBCU schools to help them raise awareness, raise money, show them the level that they need to rise to. And it was great because the whole volleyball community got behind it. Gymnastics has always been that way anyway. There's a great camaraderie in this sport because there's so much adversity, and gymnasts understand gymnasts regardless of the color of your leotard. Everybody wants this program to succeed. And honestly, I think this is the future of gymnastics. There was a time, Alyssa, when you noticed when you saw a gymnastics program with a black athlete. Now you notice when they don't have one.
Yeah, and you know, Fisk has this incredible list of famous alumni, the late Congressman John Lewis, W.B. Du Bois, Nikki Giovanni, Ida Wells. So they're following in the footsteps of some incredible humans, and a great hiked Jaeger for the senior. Richmond doing a really nice, smooth job. That's okay that she's not counting as a fall on that squat on. She does a nice job to save it. And should have a big double layout here. Good stretch.
Look at her teammates, it's awesome. And the crowd responds as well. Well, her last 2 on bars had been her best 2 this year, so she was feeling it coming in.
Yeah, did a really great job fighting throughout that routine. You could tell it wasn't exactly on. Timing was a little bit rushed, but she is a super seasoned competitor, competed internationally for Jamaica.
Look like they're ready to go.
They are going through this
awesome.
with her. She's competed at the World Championships twice, the Pan American Games, and this is likely her last competition. Coach Max said not expected to make nationals as an individual, so really a special moment for her.
9.75 for Garcia. The rotation a little bit down for Oregon State, who's ranked 16th as a team on this event. Sage Thompson.
And she can also do the 1.5, but that full is close to textbook. She almost over-rotated the twist a little bit at the end. Her hips didn't quite close there. You can see she just bounced and twisted a little bit. Not her absolute best, but just shows you what phenomenal potential she has on that event.
She's gone 9.85 this year. She's had 6 vaults, at least 9.8. More better. And I wondered about Oregon State coming in because they had that 197.7 season high last week, one of the best scores in school history. I think it was number 4 all time. And you can't ask them to crank it up every week. But another big crowd showed up. They know there's history going on. Pac-12 Insider's here. Jade Carey's money. She always shows up. They know that. But I wanted to see what kind of response we would get from Oregon State tonight, how their focus would be. Scores in on Richmond now. Again, 6 compete, 5 scores, so you can drop one of them. And here's Roseby. I told you Roseby won the all-around last week for this team. Morgan Price was not in the lineup.
Coach Mack called her the silent assassin. I love her connecting the toe on out of that bail handstand. A few form deductions here and there, but nice command on top of the bar. And here's this toe front half.
Whoa!
Great job. Always keeps that left foot down.
Sanaya Roseby, excellent work coming off a career high. at Centenary last week. She went 9.7. This number's going to be right there.
Yeah, I love this different looking front pike half. You see that a couple places over NCAA. Wish she would have just absorbed the landing to get the stick.
Anytime you hear the crowd responding in the background, that's because Jade Carey has stepped up for the first time tonight. She is ranked number 12 in the country on this event. She has 4 wins. All 10 of her vaults have been at least 9.85. She had a 9.975 against San Jose State. She is simply the best gymnast in the country statistically right now, number 1 in the all-around.
She'll do the 1.5. See if she can get the landing. And just the slight hop off to the left. She does that 1.5, arguably as good as anyone in the country does, which isn't a surprise. She's competed the double, she's competed the 2.5, she's competed the chung. Vault is, you know, where she has an Olympic bronze medal. But you'll notice her run is shorter because she had so much power, they had to take 2 steps out of it. She's starting closer so she can rein in the power she gets by having such phenomenal technique on that ball.
So we go from one all-arounder, Jade Carey, number 1 in the country, to another top 25 all-arounder in Fisk, Morgan Price, who will round out their competitive rotation on the bars. They will have an exhibition afterwards. We're still waiting on the score. Now Roseby's score is in. They only gave Roseby a 9.5. I thought they might give her something closer to 9.6, 9.7. And there is Morgan Price. Morgan Price is defending national champion in the all-around for the USAG. And right now ranked 25th in the country in the all-around.
Just an exquisite bar worker.
Solid score, 7 times 9.8 or better. And again, had the 10 at Temple back in February.
The extension, but also the control that she has of bars. You can see when someone works at a different speed, she's not rushed. She missed the toe on circle she typically does, but it doesn't matter. She has a beautiful full in here. And
yes. Oh, just a little step.
A little bit, you know, the old college stick is what I will call that. But just great to watch her. And, you know, she took last week off, so she's a little bit, you know, getting back into the swing of competition. They had to travel across the country to come to Corvallis. They said it was a very long travel day. And she took last week off because she represented Fisk in the Miss Old Gold and Black pageant, the 94th Southern Regional Convention, where she won. She was named the pageant winner in July. She'll compete for the national title at the General Convention against your big SEC schools, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. And we talked about how important it is at Fisk to develop the full athlete and give them opportunities to participate in things like that.
She has the highest all-time scores for any HBCU gymnast on bars, beam, and all around.
Coach Mack also talked about they love the idea of ending their regular season here. That was added mid-year. Oregon State was looking for opponents for this weekend. They don't have a conference championship. And, you know, she competed at Kent State. They opened their season at Kent State. Naya, her sister, competed at Oregon. So to close the season at Oregon State was a nice bookend for those sisters that have stepped into this program, whose head coach resigned unexpectedly mid-season. So they've been through a ton of adversity, a lot of change in the program. And since the change, they've only scored their first 194. They've beaten their first D1 team. They've really adapted well.
Ayanna Thomas now in an exhibition performance on bars for Fisk. You see a lot of teams doing this year. You and I saw it many times doing Utah meets, where the teams are allowed to put in a couple exhibitions at the end. And who wouldn't want to put some gymnasts up in a game setting like this in front of a big crowd? Because whether it counts or not, it feels like it when you're up there.
And she learned this, Jaeger, when she came to Fisk. She did not have a bar routine. And so it's really nice, good technique. Same bar releases, you need numbers. You need a lot of numbers. And so she will get that. The technique is there. You know, she's a local, or not local, but she's a West Coast kid. Only one on the roster from California. Her mom and grandmother are in the crowd tonight. Just came in and wanted to work hard and figure out how to get into the lineups.
Fisk University defeated both Southeast Missouri State and the University of Bridgeport back on March 4th. It was the first time ever an HBCU school beat both a Division I and a Division II program. So it's baby steps in its third year of existence. But I'm telling you, come back in 5 years and Fisk is going to be a top 20 team. Nailed it that time.
Incredible. And, you know, goes over a little bit on the bail. So it's the extra swing and can be a deduction there. Missed the handstand. But his exhibition spot is about gaining confidence on the event. The event that she did not intend to compete in college, but they needed to build depth. And so she put together a bar routine, which is really impressive to see adding events.
It doesn't surprise me to see this Corvallis crowd get behind Fisk University, because I know, having come here for many, many years, there are people in this crowd that were here when the Chaplin showed up and built this thing from the ground up 28 years ago. So they know about struggle, they know how tough it is, and they know what's at the end of that rainbow. If you can keep that train on the tracks, there's good things ahead. So we're all rooting for Fisk University. That's what's great about this. So let's see, Jade Carey's score came in at a 9.9. That was the best in the rotation for Oregon State. They go 49.025. You're going to drop Buckner's 9.725. So for Oregon State, their average was about a 49.2, so it was just a little bit under. Tanya Chaplin, the head coach of Oregon State, joins us now. And Tanya, during that first rotation, Elise and I were talking about it. There's a lot of themes to this meet, but the overriding thing for me coming in is the history. The first time against Fisk University. Now, this normally would have been your conference championship week. You could have scheduled anybody. Tell me how you found Fisk and how you got them to come to Corvallis and why you did it.
Well, most schools are at their conference championships, and Fisk isn't in a conference either, and so it worked out for both of us to have this competition this weekend.
Vault started off pretty well. What are you looking forward to from the bar lineup?
You know, we're looking at trying to get the landings a little bit cleaner, you know, just going big gymnastics and letting things just fall into place where, you know, like let those landings just happen and not force them. So that's what I'd like to see, especially at the end of finals week. We wanted to see, you know, just going after it and being really aggressive so that we can prepare for postseason.
Tanya, I know you're always proud of your gymnasts, but what about this crowd tonight backing up Fisk when they're having some struggles on bars, and the Oregon State Beav Nation gets right behind them? You got to be proud.
Yeah, no, you know, Beaver Nation is amazing. They support everyone here. They love good gymnastics. They love gymnastics, and so we feel so honored to have all of these fans come and watch us tonight, and it's a great environment.
Appreciate your time as always. You're always good to us, Tanya. Congratulations on a great season. Good luck in the postseason.
Thank you.
Tanya
Go Beavs.
Chaplin. Yeah, go Beavs. In her 28th season, and of course her husband, Mike Chaplin, associate head coach. They both went to UCLA. They were both gymnasts. They came to Corvallis. You just don't see it anymore that a coaching duo will stay in one place. You know they've had offers. They've had people asking them, would you consider coming somewhere else? Maybe back to UCLA, maybe in the Midwest. Who knows what's happened over 28 years? They always said no. They stayed home.
And they are truly just such an important role model for so many young coaches. They have a huge coaching tree across gymnastics. Nuria Mack said that when she was put into the interim head coach role, Tanya reached out to her and said, Michael and I are here for you. How can we help you? You know, not just we know you're coming out here, but being a first-time interim head coach, there are situations that she had never encountered before. So the Chaplins just have such an incredible role and take it, you know, just do such a great job of helping other coaches develop.
Good times, great gymnastics at Gill Coliseum tonight. We step out as Oregon State goes 49.025 in its opener on vault, and Fisk 847.575 on bars. More to come on Pac-12 Insider from Corvallis and Oregon State University. Gill Coliseum opened in 1949. It's been full many times. It was full last week, a record sellout crowd of 9,042. We weren't sure who would come out tonight in the rain against Fisk University to end the regular season. Well, a big crowd showed up. They're standing in the rain, and they go all the way up to the rafters tonight. All right, so the teams in gymnastics are ranked not by opinion, but by math. It's called an NQS. It's a national qualifying score. How do you get it? Well, it's your top 6 scores. 3 of them have to be away from your home arena. And you add up the other 5, divide by 5, and come up with your NQS 197, 195. In that sense, the season high for Oregon State was last week at 197.7. They're looking to drop. You always want to drop a score to improve. So tonight they would want to drop a 197.325. But after just a 49-0 to start, it's going to be tough for them to get to that number tonight.
Yeah, and, you know, vault's not their best event. They really excel on the other 3 events. But what I'm looking for from them on bars are the landings. They haven't had all 6 athletes stick their landings yet. And now, you know, you want them to peak in April, right? But this would be a nice precursor to build that confidence around their ability to stick all of those landings.
Oregon State deciding to remain in the Pac-12, and so they were kind of a team without a conference this year. They didn't get a conference championship, and instead of worrying about it, they bring in Fisk and make history tonight and keep their rhythm going as they go into regionals. And, you know, Tanya Chaplin and Mike Chaplin have been here for 28 years. You know how many times they've gone to the regional? Every time.
Incredible
Every
statistic.
time. That's all you need to know. All right, here's the lineup for Fisk. Is now they'll come over to the vault, where they're averaging a 48.425. It's a strong event for Fisk. Statistically, it's their 2nd best event. And Oregon State will be going to the bars, where they're ranked 13th. More on the Beeps on the bars in a second. But let's start with Jade Reese.
It's a new vault for Jada that she learned in the off season. She really was terrified of the Yurchenko entry vaults, so she learned a handspring front tuck. Really incredible. This one is out of a 9.8. Nice job.
Yeah,
Very
she's been
clean.
getting better. All your scores have been rising gradually. She's getting more comfortable with it, and with comfort comes confidence.
Yeah, you know, she took 2 years off of gymnastics before she joined the Fisk team. It's not like she was practicing in the gym. No, she just took 2 years off. So to relearn everything, she's also in on floor. Just really incredible athlete.
Taylor DeVries, the sophomore from Roscoe, Illinois, leads off the Beavs on the bars. They rank 13th. They average a 49.28.
Solid swing. Beautiful toe point. a nice half pirouette. For some athletes, that's the most nerve-wracking part of their bar routine. You want to get within 10 degrees of handstand throughout, and
Winding up that dismount.
does a really nice double out. I really enjoy her technique on that. She nailed the landing in warm-ups. We know it's possible, but just great lines, good body position, just the smallest of hops back there.
She's got 9.8 or better 4 times. You have to think the score is going to be right there. Obviously, somebody she knows up in the crowd, maybe her family. Yeah, you wonder for the seniors, last time ever in Gill Coliseum, and we get to floor with Jade Carey. You know, that's going to be a seminal moment. People are going to say, what happened? How did the 4 years go by so quickly?
Right, and you'll remember that time. And so that's why I also think this additional meet is so great. Just one more time to see Jade Carey live. It's one more time to see the seniors. And we'll get to compare handspring front vaults now. Kendall Guy will do the same one. But and really exceptional landing.
I just love their reaction. They have so much energy, and there's such joy and happiness around this program. They know that they're making history. They know they're building something that's going to last.
And her technique on this, the tuck is so open. That is so hard to do it so stretched out. She hardly grabbed her knees. In a tuck, you want to ball up so that you can rotate faster.
How do you not love that?
Yeah, I mean, she knows how great that was. To find a forward landing like that is not easy.
Freshman from Louisville with maybe her best vault of the year. DeVries went 9-8. Nice start for Oregon State. Briones once again. Remember, Briones led off the rotation on vault with a 9.775. Looking for more here.
She's a really free swinger on bars. Has open hips on her handstands. Good momentum. As I said that, she sort of stopped her momentum in the backswing before that pack, but good handstand position. She'll also do a double layout dismount. Watch how open she is on these giant swings leading in, and also her body position nice and open, and finds the stick.
Very nice. 5 straight. She's got 9.8 or better. This is going to be right there.
Yeah, it surprises me her career high is only 9.9. She's typically in the leadoff spot, and so I like the idea of them, moving her down a little bit. Your score shouldn't rise. It doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter where you are in the lineup, but that was just gorgeous, and really happy for Briones to go out like that.
Yeah,
it's her last
senior,
time in
right?
Gill Coliseum doing that bar routine.
And like Jade Carey came from Arizona to the Northwest. Sometimes kids want to stay close to home. Other times they want to go far away and have something completely different. Well, Corvallis is different than Phoenix.
In every way?
9.625.
Is there one way they're alike?
9.625. They're both, well, I would say Tucson would be a great college town. Corvallis, great college town. Corvallis was ranked #1 college town in America a few years ago.
Nice. Machenko full, yep, from Sanaya Roseby, the sophomore. Great height and distance. Hikes down a little bit, leg separation that we can really only see from this angle. Judges sit on the side, never head on like that.
Roseby and Price are both, let's see, I guess Price is a junior, Roseby is a sophomore, so they're both going to be back next year. Fisk will go on to the USAG Championships April 11th. And for Oregon State, they move on to the regionals in early April.
Bar specialist here, Francesca Casso. A little bit of an issue there on her pack salto. Broke form in the air. Misses this handstand that she needs because she goes into her Van Leeuwen here. So a nice job recovering from that. Her toe point is absolutely exquisite. And I love how, unfortunately,
just rolled out of it, yeah.
Rolled out of it, and with the way that the new finish position deduction works, you have to stand still for a second before you turn to the judges. So they technically could take a 10th for each of those steps. Now it's literally impossible to predict what the judges will take, or if they will take the things in the in their judges book. But
And there's Nia Mack back in her old gym. Nia Mack, former Oregon State gymnast, her sister now the head coach at Fisk. So she's officially the team manager, but she's doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, not only doing, supporting the gymnastics team administratively and as a coach, she's also about to graduate from the University of Memphis. She's getting her master's in accounting with a concentration in taxation.
Here comes Aaliyah Reed-Hammond as Fisk's numbers are rising on the vault. Hold on to it.
Almost gets the stick on that. She's a, All-American on vault specialist, competed in nationals there. You could tell she really wanted that stick.
Yeah, just down a little bit on the landing.
Yep.
And couldn't pull it back with the hips.
Yeah, junior from Milwaukee, she competed for M&M Gymnastics, club that the Olympian Chelsea Memel trained or owns, operates with her dad.
Just a 9.725 for Casso. I thought that would be a bit higher. The judges being pretty tough tonight. They're not giving anything away for free. Jennifer McMillan now, 4th up. So the low score would be the 9.725. They have a couple of 9.8 pluses with Briones and DeVries.
Love the straight backswing. She gets into that bail. Just an exquisite bar worker. Also does a double layout dismount. Good handstand. See if she can keep an open body in both flips here. Hikes down, but still nails the landing.
You said it, she did it.
Now, did her feet slide? It's so hard to see from over here. They gave her the chainsaw, as one would, right? Celebrate with a chainsaw.
Here you go, check it now.
Oh yeah, nope. her feet didn't move.
Yeah.
What she did was slide her heels together, which you're allowed to do to show your finish position. She will technically be in the all-around tonight because she's competing exhibition in a few. Or no, she did an exhibition vault. She's going to, but she is a really important part of the Beavers' future.
Reed Hammond went 9.575. The top mark still Roseby at 9.675. Once again, here's Allie Berkeley.
Great hang time in the air. She was also that vault specialist from Lindenwood. It was the only event she really did there. Watch the height here. Does a great job adjusting to being a little bit high on. You could tell she's not thrilled because she has done better than that. She was a little bit close to the table because of her shoulder angle, but great height on that vault. It's an impressive lineup so far from Fisk on bars.
McMillan, 9.875 for Oregon State. Let's check it from McMillan. 9.875 is a career best. Oh, no, I was looking at her vault score, sorry. She has gone 9.925 this year on bars.
Senior Sage Thompson in her Gill Coliseum bars finale. Oh, excellent half pirouette there. That was textbook. Used to do a Ginger earlier in the season, but you know, the judges just find deductions everywhere, don't they? Wow.
Good job. Right foot maybe stepped back.
Yeah, right foot stepped back, but her execution is so fantastic on bars.
She's won twice this year on bars, 10 times. She's gotten 9.8 or better. 9.925, 3 different meets.
Second team All-American on the event. Was excited when she transferred here from Utah to be considered an all-around athlete. She didn't want to be a bar specialist.
Morgan Price.
That was, I said Sage Thompson did textbook bars. That was a textbook layout full vault. Wow.
But she's been really consistent. She's been 9.8 or better in 6 straight meets. You can count it as 7 already before they put the score up. She went 9.925 at a tri-meet at George Washington in the nation's capital earlier this year.
I mean,
what's wrong with that?
The flare, she kept her legs together throughout the twist. The arms, let me see, I think the arms were perfectly straight on the table. Absolutely fantastic.
I love it how we're going back and forth at the end of these rotations from the 2 all-arounders coming in. Morgan Price, 25th in the country, and now to Jade Carey, the #1 all-arounder in collegiate gymnastics as she anchors the bars. She is ranked 6th in the country. She has won 5 times, and all 10 times she's gone at least 9.85. She had a 9.975, as you mentioned, in her open last week here against Air Force.
Beautiful toe on to the Pac Salto. And she'll do a Van Leeuwen next. Keep those legs together on the twist. Beautifully done. Learned the double layout after she got back from the Olympics. They wouldn't let her try it before, but the float on that nails it.
That a way to go out. Mike Chaplin, the associate head coach, right there.
She was never known for her bars, and the way she commands it and trains new skills, learns new things, tries it out. You know, I asked her this week, Jordan Childs, her two-time Olympic teammate, changed her dismount to a double layout this season. I asked maybe if she copied Jade, and she said, yeah, you know, just happened that they did it at the same time.
Jade Carey has had a 10 on bars. She's had 2. She's had a 10 on everything. In fact, they call it the Gym Slam if you've had a 10 on all 4 events. She's done it twice. So she was only the 13th in the country ever to do it. Now she's done it twice.
And, you know, she hasn't had one since 2023, which is sort of preposterous to me because of how clean her bars are. I think the judges may be picky with that first handstand that she did on the high bar where she had just the tiniest opening in her hips. And we've got a 10 from one.
Judge. Jade
and a 9.95.
Yeah, from the other. So 9.975 for Jade. And that's why she glanced and then just disappeared.
She's seen this routine before. The 9.975.
Second week in a row now she's gotten that.
Stunning. pulls the heels together.
I mean, that's where you'd love to afterwards have those two judges in the hallway and say, what'd you see?
What'd you see?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But so excited to see the return here of Ellie Weaver to the bars lineup. She did exhibition last week as well. Look at her toe point.
Yeah, this is a great moment in last weekend's Air Force. Just to give you a quick synopsis, she was injured last year, ended her season. She went 413 days between competing. They put her in an exhibition role just like this last week. She went 9-8. The place went crazy. See if we get it again here.
Yeah, she's about to go near 9-8 because her form is impeccable. That's Francesco Casa's dad there that erupts with the big ponytail. He's their biggest cheerleader, and Ellie Weaver has so many of them on this team. She has to fight so hard to come back. When she was injured last year, she was ready to be one of their number 2 or number 3 all-arounder. It was devastating to see her go down at Cal, and to watch her come back, you can see how meaningful it is to her teammates, and she, you know, if she can get back on the other events. She had a leg injury. It will be really important for this Oregon State team as they look to rebuild.
I love that they got her out on the floor last week, and then they back it up. She proved she can do it. She's back to competition level. Just a great personal story.
Yeah.
If you've ever been through an injury, how hard it is to come back, and you're watching your healthy teammates work out every day, and you're in the rehab room, and your doctor's telling you not so much, and let it rehab. Don't rush yourself back. But gymnasts, they're not used to being out of the gym.
No.
You know, they work out more than anybody else. They put in more hours even than football players. I've had that argument many times.
She's 2 for 2 now with the 9-8. Really great depth to have.
Carly Beeman now also in an exhibition role. Carly Beeman, senior from Golden, her last appearance perhaps in Gill. She has also done beam, but none this year, so this might be it for her.
She's 5'7", and it just looks gorgeous on bars. Love the extension.
And yeah, that height is tough on the low bar.
Real tough on the low bar. Got to have a ton of ab strength. And this stalter is gorgeous. Nice straight arms there.
Stick
and
this.
the open double tuck.
That's it. That's your memory. That's your walk-off.
That is awesome. And she is such, you know, as exceptional of an athlete she is an even better student. Like all of the honors you could get in the chemistry program here. So hard to balance a science with gymnastics, knowing how much time you have to spend in the lab. Wants to get her PhD in the biomedical science field. We certainly need that.
We've said it many times that gymnasts are the best student athletes on campus. It's not even close. Google it yourself if you don't believe me. 49.350 for Oregon State on the bars. That ties a season best. They also hit that mark against San Jose State. So a nice bounce back after kind of a subpar vault rotation. They come right back and do it. And this is a team, remember, not just bringing in Fisk and setting a little history and keeping in workout form and competition form tonight. They're looking at regionals. The clock is already running, and Oregon State is going to regionals again. This is a team ranked 11th in the country, and they want to get to that Final Four. That's a big goal for this team. They can do it. They have the Olympian, the gold medalist, Jade Carey, the tent pole in the middle of that circle, holding everything up. But they are deep, and they're good on everything. They're ranked in the top 16 on all 4 events. So Oregon State is a team that's going to go deep this year.
And that's not a team I would want to see at my regional. So the top 8 teams are seeded, and then the next just go geographically. And so that's right. No, top 16 are seeded.
Yeah, Oregon State.
Yep.
Oregon State has already beaten UCLA, BYU, both ranked teams at the time. Remember, they beat UCLA in that early season matchup. So the 49.350 ties a season best for Oregon State, and Fisk goes 48.5 on the vault. Above its season average. Halfway home in Corvallis. Oregon State with a 98.375 through 2 rotations, as Jade Carey just went nearly perfect. 99.75 on the bars. She also had a 9.9 on vault earlier. She's done just about everything in her career. At Oregon State, 155 wins. That's number 1 all time. She has 14 tens, number 1 all time. She's won 3 Olympic medals, 2 world championships, and now she's got a Barbie doll.
Exceptional. So Barbie did a promotion for International Women's Day and celebrating the friendship of Jordan Childs and Jade Carey. She talked about like the young little girl in herself was absolutely screaming and so excited, and just that how special of a message it was to celebrate her and Jordan's friendship. She talked, I asked her who her gymnastics role models were, and she said it's the teammates she was with at the 2 Olympics.
Yep.
Sunalisa Lee, Simone Biles, Jade Carey, Jordan Childs went through so much between the Tokyo Olympics that were besieged by COVID, and then went on to win gold in Paris. And so just awesome to see, you know, a little girl being able to get a Jade and a Jordan Barbie.
And I loved when we were talking with her earlier this week, when you asked her about the Barbie, and she said, the little girl in me just screamed when they said they were going to do it. And then she went out of her way to point out that it meant more because it was with Jordan and how much they've been through on the national team together, that they're bonded forever now. And for each of them to get the Barbie, I mean, you can imagine years from now, maybe they'll be playing with their daughters together with the Barbies. You know, they went through a lot on that national team, a lot of pressure, and they came out the other side. And both of them are terrific gymnasts still.
And terrific people. And, you know, it's so Jade to ask her a question about her personally and then have her talk about someone else, talk about her team. We asked, what are your goals for the end of this season? And she said, my goal is for the team to go to nationals. She wants them there with her. She did also mention she'd like a national title. Of her list of accolades, that's surprisingly eluded her thus far.
Yeah, it's shocking with everything else she's done and that she hasn't gotten an individual national championship. And I like that she said it out loud. She said, I would like that. But she's team first here, and that's what it's been about. Look, we've been doing this a long time, and sometimes you have to talk about great athletes, and you kind of ignore maybe they're not as nice people off the mat as they should be, or off the field or off the court. I can tell you that Jade Carey is exactly what you think she is. She's wonderful. All of her teammates say great things about her. I've never heard anything negative about Jade Carey. How do you do that with, she's been in the spotlight forever.
Right.
Oregon State goes to the beam in the 3rd rotation. You mentioned before, you wouldn't want to see Oregon State in the postseason. This is why. They're ranked 6th in the country on beam. It's the toughest event in this sport.
This combination coming up from Sofia Esposito, so special. Leap series goes right into a layout step out. Exceptional. She is such a great combination of power and artistry and grace. Has really nice toe point. Flight series here, back handspring layout. She is so solid, just a little balance check there. Tanya Chaplin does a really great job of instilling confidence in this beam squad, which is, that's what you need to be a good beam squad. They can do these skills. They've been doing them for years. I love this double twist dismount she has coming up. Great height, beautiful stick. She took off pretty far from the end of the beam. I want to see her a little bit closer, but it didn't face her at all. Celebrates with the chainsaw. Let's look at that dismount again. Yeah, so she had a solid 12 inches from her in the end of the beam, but unfazed, smiling before she stuck.
Espo's been great on the beam all year long. 9 times, she's got 9.8 or better, had a 9.9 at San Jose State. And, you know, you could say that the anchor spot is the most important in the lineup on every event except for beam. And I think that the leadoff is the most important spot on beam. And when we talk to coaches, they always want to talk about leadoff more than they want to talk about the anchor.
Absolutely. It's really sets the mental tone for your team.
Fisk goes to the floor here in the 3rd rotation. Kaylee McDonald leads off.
Senior does a round off right into a double tuck. Nice height.
Beautiful.
leap combination there. Great extension. One of those seniors who this very well may be her last meet if she doesn't qualify as an individual. Has to do 2 saltos in this tumbling pass. We'll do a 1.5 through the front layout. Good job pulling that to her feet. I think she stayed in. She had a little bit of issues in the warm-up, so you could see her team really celebrating that. And puts up the bulldog to close. Really strong starting athlete for the Bulldogs.
Where she steps across and stays in. You can step on the line.
Right.
You just can't step over the line.
Yeah, and I love celebrating that when you know, struggle in the warm-up. So much pressure to go in front of a big crowd like this. It's her only time, well, first time she'll also see her on.
Buckner's been in the beam lineup all year. She's gone 9.8 or better 7 times, had a 9.9 at Auburn.
Love to see her work up a little higher on toe on that full turn. It's her leap series, backhand through layout, excellent. It's always such a stark difference from floor to beam because of the music choices. So at home meets, the gymnast can choose what song is on. So usually it's pretty calm, pretty chill, reflective of how they hope beam will go. Really nice leap connection there, the split to the ring jump. Side aerial coming up here. Unfortunately, you could tell the hip was off as she came over the top. So unfortunately,
wasted no time getting back to it.
Yep, she wants to get up, and she's just off the beam again here for her dismount back handspring to a 1.5. Good height, nice stick on the landing, but that's one she's going to want to forget and get it out of her system now before they head to regionals. Here's this flight series. I like this angle so you can both be reminded how thin the beam is, but how nice and straight she was on that series. And good dismount. Just got to shake it off. She heads over to floor, so like most sports, you got to have a really short memory.
Allie Berkeley waits to go on floor.
They may have had a lineup change because that's Sanaya Roseby.
Oh, they changed, yeah.
Get that fixed. While we wait for the score, you have the judges had a bit of a conference. Yeah, I think the coach needs to. Because on our, on the score system, we show Allie, but this is definitely Sanaya. Yeah, someone's at the table sort of adjusting that.
Now they're going to change it.
Yep, got to make sure that's right in the score system.
Well, they're both going to go.
They're both going to go just in a different order.
Yeah, and the judges, of course, they have their performance card in front, so they want to make sure that they're accurate.
But you would get a neutral deduction, the team would, if you go out of order.
Yeah, it's like a batting order in baseball.
It's one of those things that if, you know, as an interim head coach without someone with a ton of experience on your staff, you've got to learn a lot of these little nuances about how to run the meet. And Nuria and Naya there on the right are the only 2 coaches out here for Fisk that made this long road trip. Most staffs, coaching staffs, you have 4 coaches, and then they bring a team manager, then they bring a trainer, then they bring managers. So most teams travel really deep. Fisk, a little bit smaller, so Naya and Nuria are wearing a million hats.
Yeah, and they have lineup right there in front of them. Coming off her 2 best, including a 9.775 at Bridgeport.
Has an E pass to open, front double twist. Nuria Mack said she wants to see her confidence grow. She's a strong tumbler, good dancer, just wants to see her really shine and come through like she did there. Really sell it. Good leap positions there. Love this choreo section. The whole team is doing it on the side. Teammate Zaya Coleman does a lot of the choreography. Here's her double salto pass, 1.5 front full, awesome. These two passes, that's tumbling being done by the top teams in the NCAA. Gorgeous. Really nice routine. Artistry from the tumbling through the dance, really the whole package.
Lauren Letch is next up for Oregon State. They're going to want to drop Buckner's 9.15, so a little bit of pressure here as Letch tries to get them back on track.
I'm always impressed by beam specialists because they have to wait so long to compete and stay mentally focused. She, warmed up beam at about 6:15. It's after 8. Does a nice job to keep her arms moving. It was a little bit of a slow connection though on the front to back. You're supposed to keep moving and remain straight, not adjust your feet on those, but her extension on those leaps, just unparalleled.
Just touched the ponytail.
Yep.
She was out all of last year, has come back and has become a reliable beamer. 9.8 or better 9 times. She's coming off a new career high, 9.95. I think one of the judges gave her a 10 last week.
That's right. One gave her a 10, and it was just such an emotional day for the senior.
Yeah, I mean, think of that. After missing an entire year to come back and almost be perfect.
Right, and she, her heart condition she has, she could hardly get off the couch without being winded. So she goes from that to that beam routine and be able to perform in front of a crowd in one of the hardest sports. I mean, just really incredible process.
And as Tanya Chaplin told us, this isn't like an injury that you're over with, you rehab, and now you're back to normal. She's always going to have to deal with that heart condition. Roseby went 9.7, and now Allie Berkeley. Mid-season ad had a 9.8 at Bridgeport.
Open with a double pike. Awesome. Good height, good form. I feel like that one leg will full is a little old school. I really appreciate that.
You've always been a fan of throwback routines,
I
right?
really love the throwback.
Especially the music.
I mean, who doesn't, right? Some front tumbling for her second pass. Front layout and the full. Good control on the landing. When you want to get your breath together, really focus in for the final pass. We'll do a double tuck and get an extra 1/10 of bonus for doing the 2 flips at the end. Great height, just a little bit chest down, takes the step forward. But really, really solid on her 3 events thus far.
Allie always looks so unimpressed with her own efforts.
She really is one of those, nonplussed Michaela Maroney face, unimpressed face. Really, really great double pike. And just a little bit slow to rotate the double tuck. So step forward there as opposed to the step back that would garner her no deduction.
Back over to beam, and look at Lauren Letch goes 9.85 again. She's been so good this year. Always in that neighborhood, above 9.8. Jennifer McMillan. McMillan had a 9.875 on the bars.
It's her front-to-back series to the toss. Not a toss, the front toss to the swing jump. That's a releve position I like.
Another big score on beam, always above 9.8, 9.9 at San Jose State.
It's her ring position coming up in this stag.
Solid. Crowd all the way up to the Raptors at Gill once again.
Yeah, she's just such a smooth beam worker as she swings into the gainer full. Beautiful stick.
Yeah, just calm, no rush. Seemed to be in control of that routine from start to finish.
Yeah, I really like how long she held that finish position. You have to freeze. You can't move your arms, can't move your feet. She does a nice job of selling that. So here's the jumps, 2 jumps in a row you need to do. I also get some extra bonus points, and I like the swing on that gainer full. You want to see your legs swung all the way up to horizontal before you start your twist to technically do it well, as she does.
Back-to-back 9.7 for Roseby and Berkeley on floor. Once again, Zaya Coleman. She's been in and out of the lineup this year on floor.
She can do a full in. We'll see what the first pass is going to be. And it is the full in. Awesome. Unfortunately, takes the couple steps back.
She had a 9.85 at the USAG Championships on floor last year. So you know she's capable of a big number.
Great straddle positions. She does a lot of the choreo, music selection. Really like this routine. Shades of Brittany McCullough at UCLA, maybe? But all her own. Really special. This could be a front through to a double tuck. She sometimes decides mid-routine what she's going to close with. It's got to have 2 flips in it. Tuck, through to the double tuck. Gets the landing on that one.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What?
I was wondering how she was going to finish it. She was running out of room.
Right. She was right on the side there, flips in place. And yeah, that was such an electric performance. Closing with the front through the double tuck, and you saw that front, she was way over rotated, so really had to rein it back in.
Her head coach, Maria Mack, in the background, right up to her and said, I didn't think you were going to get it done at the end.
Right, she really flipped in place there to get to that final pose. Awesome routine.
McMillan goes 9.925 for Oregon State, so they just went 9.85 with Letch, McMillan 9.925, and here is Sydney Gonzalez.
She had a really uncharacteristic fall last week, so I want to see her redeem. Right here is where she fell. Beautiful.
She was probably thinking about that for a week.
Yep. She used to compete on 3 events. Knee injury last year, ended that season. And so now it's so great to see her back on beam.
Yeah, she's always been a good beamer ever since her days at Wildfire Gymnastics down in Orange County.
Oh, what do you know about Wildfire?
Her big sister Lexi, of course, also a lineage here at Oregon State.
Oh, beautiful side aerial. I like how she finishes with her chest up. You can tell there's just an almost relief on her face. She nailed that series. She knows how to do the rest of this smoothly. Saying goodbye to Gill with this routine. Front full here to close. Woo! Awesome. Awesome. I know it's not technically senior night, but it just gets me emotional.
Yeah,
the last time.
Last week, right? So,
Yeah.
but it still is because it's their last time.
Yeah, and the fans are on their feet. They know they're such an awesome crowd that cares so much. And so for her to redeem herself like that, just awesome. Really pretty side aerial. This is that front full dismount, great form. You can land with your feet that far apart as long as you can snap your heels together.
Yep.
You know,
No place like home.
ballerinas get that first position.
Yeah, that was a nice moment for her.
So, you know,
Only a 9.475 for Coleman.
you know,
I thought
she
deserved better.
had those probably 4 tenths in deduction stepping out of bounds
Yeah,
on that
that's
first
right.
pass.
I forgot.
But man, that was special.
Jade Reese. She's becoming more consistent on this. She's been in the lineup every meet this year.
And
9.8 at the Windy City Classic in Chicago.
she could debut a double layout right here. It's going to be a game time decision. Saw it in warm-ups. And does it and lands it. Awesome. Wow.
She was out, flag went up, but I don't think she cares right now.
I don't care. I love seeing a double layout. Again, she took 2 years off before joining Fisk. Ooh, height on those leaps, a little bit of toes. But to take 2 years off and then come back and just casually learn a double layout, insane. She also closes with a really difficult pass, a front through to a 2.5 twist. And gets the landing. Twists right into the ground, but holds on to it. Awesome. I am loving this Fisk floor rotation and the exceptional tumbling they're doing. This front through to a 2.5 really does a good job twisting it around her feet. Awesome.
Looking at the scores, I think McMillan's 9.925 is not only a season high, but a career high, and Gonzalez ties her season best.
Awesome.
So look at those scores in the middle from ledge down.
And up
Here comes Jade Carey, last time on the beam at Gill.
and you know, she does need to hit.
She's
so the
number
beams-
1 in the country on beam. And how about this? She's undefeated. She's won all 10 beams in which she's competed this year. Best beamer in the country.
So smooth throughout. Has done a few different iterations of this routine. She does the front to back series here. And of course I say that as she has a small check there. So she'll have to improvise after this flight series. Awesome. So she'll have to do a more difficult leap series here to start from a 10.0. So she'll probably do a switch leap to a switch half. We'll see. Oh, beautiful. Great extension on that. Sometimes you see people cheat those switch halves, not quite hit 180. She did have a slight balance check, so I don't think it's going to be the 10. But what I love to see is her fight back. Absolutely. She's so mentally strong and just so confident and sure in herself. And she talked about like coming to Oregon State and how important the Chaplins have been for her. Allowed her to grow as a person, really feel comfortable with who she is. And her gymnastics just continues to get better and better.
I remember when the announcement was made that she was coming to Oregon State. She could have gone anywhere. She could have gone to Oklahoma. She could have gone to UCLA. She could have gone anywhere she wanted to. But when I heard that, and having been here many times, been around this program, it just fit. It was right.
Yeah, and she said, they helped me find who I am and what I'm passionate about. And there's no better endorsement you can have for a coaching staff than that.
Here's Morgan Price. Now, I watched this floor routine on YouTube a couple of times. Great dance elements in this.
Yeah, Coach Miriam Mack said maybe Morgan can get her floor 10 today.
And I think she opens with a double.
She just double pike, but it is beautiful. Watch her form throughout her tumbling. Awesome toe point. So super athlete, athletic family, but just so skilled. Dance and tumbling, whole package. I don't know who really can compete with her for this USAG national title coming up in a couple weeks. She's just exquisite. And a biology major as well, so no slouch in the classroom.
For her.
Final pass, 1.5 immediate front full. Does a good job controlling that. Didn't quite get the height you want on that full, but what a treat. Yeah, I just feel this is so awesome that we get to see her live.
It's a great night for all of them. For Morgan Price tonight, she went 9-9 on vault. That means she ties Jade Carey for the win in the meet. I know it's a small thing, but for her to tie Jade Carey for the win on vault in a real meet, televised, the whole deal in front of a big crowd, I mean, that's something she's going to carry with her for a long time, and she's got another year in front of her.
Yeah, she did the best Yurchenko hole of the night, no question. I think that was the best double pike I've seen all night. I know it's just them on floor, but I think that exceeds some of the other double pikes on the Beavers.
This is Mia Heather now for Oregon State.
Goes down on the beam, just like Jennifer McKillen, same series. Single wolf turn.
Mia was in the beam lineup earlier this year at the Stanford Quad at a 9.825.
Really nice presence. I like her the way she holds her upper body. Extension from her toes all the way through the fingers. Gainer pike dismount coming up off the end. Wraps in and holds on to the stick. So her feet don't move, but unfortunately, the arm movement and the trunk movement do count as deductions. But as far as they go through that routine, there were very few before that dismount. That was a really nice exhibition for the sophomore. It's a special class.
Exhibition on floor, Kendall Guy for Fisk.
This was the, she calls her the freshman fireball.
Kendall Guy was another gymnast that was kind of looking around at colleges.
Looks like, oh, sorry, her music.
Did they restart it?
They didn't restart it. She just waited and got caught up. Lands, double tuck, pretty big hop back, but good height.
Well, she said she always wanted to go to an HBCU, but none of them had gymnastics. So when Fisk showed up, when she was still in high school, she said, that's it. She dialed in on it.
rotation on the layout. She hasn't been in the lineup since February 2nd. This year in this exhibition spot. Coming back with a double pike. Hardest tumbling pass, saves it for last. And again with the bulldog thrown up at the end. What a floor rotation for Fisk.
Third rotation.
You know, I'm sure they're not thrilled with all of their landings, but a debut double layout, that huge full in, got difficulty, and entertaining dance to match.
So they're making history tonight. It's the first time Oregon State and Fisk University have ever faced each other in gymnastics. But there's a tradition here at Oregon State after the third rotation that they do. 49.4 is exactly the season average for Oregon State, as Jade Carey goes 9.975 on beam. In this case, I would say it was not a 10. We knew it wasn't a 10.
Yeah, a little bit of a gift.
There was a check there.
Yep.
In this case, I think they gave her a little like going away present.
And you know what? She's not the only college athlete to get a score that may not add up when you look at the deduction sheet. But no one's mad about it. She's the best beamer in the country.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, that fits that.
All right, so here comes the Oregon State cheer, the Go Beavs cheer. They do it after 3 rotations every time. Kaitlin Garcia leading the way. You know this one? Can you get up and do it?
I mean, I can catch on. I think you can too. Oh, there we go.
Fight song.
I love a band at a gymnastics meet. I love the atmosphere it brings.
You know, it's great. When I was a little kid, I used to watch late night basketball games on tape delay from this arena. You know, this is back in the days when Bill Walton was playing at UCLA, and I would look at Gill Coliseum and I would think, it seems so exotic, and it seemed this magical land up in the Northwest. I was a Southern California kid, and I always dreamed of coming here, and I got to come here and call my very first TV event ever was a women's basketball here. And I love Gill Coliseum. It's one of those old buildings built in 1949. They kept it up. It's still got that intimate feel. It's a college bandbox. It holds over 9,000. It gets loud. There's nothing wrong with this place. I hope they never close it.
Oh, and here she is. Final time, Kaitlin Garcia.
That's awesome.
Leading the crowd. I love it. She's one that I don't think gets enough attention. Her 1.5 on vault is awesome, and she has incredibly high tumbling and high energy.
Any collegiate athletes have more fun than gymnasts? Yeah, Beaver Nation says goodbye to Jade Carey, at least at Gill. Her final floor coming up when we come back.
I think I have been opening up a little bit more over the years, and I think college gymnastics has really helped me do that. Just the atmosphere and the environment is something so fun and different for me that, like, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun when I'm out there competing, and I think that naturally just starts to show the more and more fun I'm having and the more comfortable I am out there. And my team and coaches definitely make it a lot easier. Everyone feels comfortable to be themselves, and just really, we talk a lot about celebrating every little thing out there, no matter if it's just one skill or a whole routine. So just really letting that celebration come through, and it's been really fun to kind of see myself grow and come out of my shell the past 4 years.
Yeah, the great Jade Carey, she's an introvert by nature, and it's kind of funny because everything she does draws attention to herself. Two-time world champion, three-time Olympic medalist, 2 of those gold, the Olympic champion on the floor, and we're about to see her for a final time here. She's won 155 events, and counting tonight, she's won a couple at least tonight. Yet the change that we've seen in her is that, as you talked about before, not about what's inside of her, but the way she now deflects that attention and has become a mentor for her teammates. She's having more fun. I think she loves being part of a team.
And
likes being a college kid.
Likes being a college kid. And this is the only time she's just been a college kid. She hasn't also been trying to qualify for an Olympic team. So she's been able to just really absorb being a college kid.
So Fisk is going to close on beam. Kaylee McDonald first up.
They're a really solid beam team.
Yeah, like Oregon State, this is their best event.
That front toss to the back handspring series coming up. Lands it well, but she did sort of swing her arm in between, which technically you're not supposed to have a balance adjustment between the series, so we'll see what happens. Hard to do those 2 switch leaps like that off one foot. Doesn't quite reach 180 though. Coach Mack said that she let them choose their lineup on beam. They're so confident. They really know each other's skills. And the piked gainer there, step back. So not an incredible, not without errors, I should say, but she stayed on the beam. And that's what your leadoff needs to do, is stay on the beam. And that's probably her last performance as a Bulldog. She doesn't qualify as an individual for USAG, so great to stay on the beam your last time out.
Oregon State on the floor, ranked 15th in the country, averaging better than a 49.3. Last week against Air Force, 49.625. They had 4 consecutive 9-9s. And this is Savannah Miller.
She has sky-high tumbling. Starts the double pike. Amazing. With her chest position at the end there and the height, I really thought she was going to over-rotate, but did a great job holding on.
She went 9-9 here at a tri-meet against Washington and Alaska a couple weeks ago.
Layout, double salto pass, nice height. Closes with double tuck. Forward on that, chest down, but gets the ovation she deserves. Awesome job. And here's her opening double pike. The height that she gets, look at this chest position she has at the end. Shoulders are, straight up. And then this one, you know, her back handspring, she had a bit of a shoulder angle, so didn't quite get the repulsion on that she's used to. But otherwise, just a fantastic lead off, and one who, that's her first and only routine of the night. So great job in that role.
She's been, yeah, been in that leadoff spot for a couple of years now. Allie Berkeley on the beam for the Lady Bulldogs of Fisk University from Nashville, Tennessee.
Allie does a really floaty flight series here. Taking her time setting up. Back handspring layout. You can tell she's had slightly open hips, but stayed on. Cat leap now into a side aerial. Great job. Leap series in connection. Nice height on those leaps. Leg up balance there. That's why people don't often land to the side, because you can't spot the end of the beam. Just like that, she's off the beam, gain her full, tiny step to the side. But really nice job. I think we mentioned her facial expression earlier. She just looks totally unfazed by balance beam throughout. That was a really beautiful routine with just a few slight moments, a few slight corrections made throughout. But good all-around day for her.
9.85 for Miller.
Jennifer McMillan.
Jennifer McMillan in the second spot. McMillan had a 9.775 at the Stanford quad.
Yeah, she is
not a regular on the floor.
Not at all a regular. I think she is taking the spot from Taylor DeVries, perhaps?
Yeah, DeVries not in the lineup.
Excuse me, it's Olivia Buckner, and she's taking the spot of. Opens with a double pike. Great height and form.
So you wonder how much time McMillan had to get ready.
Right.
To know she was going to be in the lineup.
Good split positions on both leaps.
I like that.
Yeah, really intense but beautiful choreography. One and a half front layout coming up. And does a good job to stay on her feet. You could see she didn't quite get a firm punch between those two skills.
Pretty good pitch hit though, coming off the bench.
Yeah, off the bench, stays on her feet there. Let's look at this double pike though, because her form in her tumbling is exquisite, and I like how tightly she wraps that pike. But so between these skills, that punch right there just loses a bit of momentum, not quite in the perfect position. So we'll get a deduction there for the form break. We'll see if they call that a layout. If they devalue that to a tuck, that could impact her start value.
Back to the Bulldogs on the beam, 9.6 for Berkeley. Here's Roseby.
Wolf turn.
Beam has been a good event for Sanaya this year. 3 times she has set her career high. Currently 9.75.
Back handspring, good connection. Uses the full length of the beam here for switch leap. Switch half. She gets a lot of bonus from that flight series. So she's gonna dismount coming up right here. It is a short and sweet routine. Back handspring into the 1.5. And just the step forward. at that sophomore. She's awesome on all 4 events. Really growing in her confidence, you can tell. Here's this dismount. It's hard to get a lot of repulsion from just that single back handspring, so does a good job to wrap that twist up tight. I missed seeing if Jennifer McMillan had an up-to-level deduction or not, so I'm not sure what they did with that last pass, but a low score that the Bees will hope to drop. And this is the perfect person to do it, Sophia Esposito. She's so good on floor. Starts with the front through to a double pike. No back handspring in there. Goes right away. Nice landing. Straddle jump was so high above 180. Great lift. She closes with this pass that last year was her first pass. Front layout to Rudy, excellent job. Maybe the front foot slid a little bit, but excellent.
Yeah, she had a look at determination on that final pass.
Yep.
And then it breaks into a smile once the music dies off. Well done.
Yeah, future is bright.
Espo, nice night again.
She's just so consistent. And Jade said she's one who's very serious. She is a perfectionist. She does not like to make mistakes, and so the two of them have to help each other celebrate the small things, celebrate the wins.
She's a New Yorker.
She's the second Sophia from New York they have on their team.
Yeah, the irony is Oregon State has no athletes from the state of Oregon, but they have them from all over. Zaya Coleman on the beam.
I believe this is her first career beam routine. You have one for her?
I have one last week.
Okay, last week.
Yeah, last week.
There we go.
Secondary,
so
yeah.
Second.
And that performance on beam last week at Centenary helped ice the meet for Fisk.
Unfortunately, she's off the side on that layout. And Liberty Mora, who's one of their incredible beam workers, resting tonight.
Yeah, they're having a good rotation. McDonald 9.625, Berkeley 9.6, Roseby went 9.75, so they can afford to drop Coleman's score. They still have 2 to go, including Price and the anchor.
Ooh.
Little Michael Jackson.
I mean,
a thriller.
I don't know if they, planned this in advance, but we also have Michael Jackson playing overhead. Oh, the gainer front toss like that. That is a rare, awesome skill.
She has this crowd's attention.
Yeah, I mean, because she's actually dancing on beam. She's not just doing consecutive poses.
She stole a little smile there.
Yeah,
It's going to reward her. They like to, look at it. Oregon State fans are getting on their feet.
Yeah, she's not thrilled about the fall.
Yeah.
But let's check out this moonwalk. She's the one who does their floor choreography. But that is
on a beam?
Yeah, and beautifully done. You see a lot of moonwalks, but there's the MJ kick as well. Yes, that's the little smile you saw. She's like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Crowd reacted to her. Esposito 9.875. Of course, you're going to want to drop McMillan. So you got Sage Thompson, Kaitlin Garcia, and then Jade Carey to close out the meet.
High tumbling on this first 1.5. Front layout, so smooth. It's a lot of distance on that. with a double pike. Oh, technically that is done so well. One more lead pass to go, nicely connected and nicely precise on those leaps. In her final routine at Gill, she said Oregon State really helped her find her love again for gymnastics. She's so grateful to be a Beav. There's the double pike. Great position. Feet a little staggered on the landing, but you know, that's in slow-mo. She's one of the 3 team captains, a psych major. It'd be helpful, be a psych major as a gymnast.
It would help. Plenty of practice in the workout room.
Yep, put those, put your learnings to good use.
Aaliyah Reed-Hammond now in the 5 spot here in a good rotation, so they need both Reed-Hammond and Morgan Price to come through. Fisk has not only a chance at its best beam rotation of the year, they have a chance to improve their national score, their NQS. And they might even have a shot at their season best score.
Gotta stay on the beam though and get rid of that score from Zia Coleman.
Reed-Hammond has been consistent on the beam this year. 4 of her last 5 have been 9.8 or better. Best of 9.875 at Greenville.
The sideways choreography requirement in elite. Not all of them do it as smoothly as she did. I love this series here. Back handspring swings the leg through to the side aerial. Oh, hang on.
Bounces back.
So
I love that. That was fluid. That was very nice to watch.
really smooth connection. Fortunately, probably about 3/10 of deduction on the wobble. Leap series coming up here. Split jump. Split 3/4. Nicely landed. She's also a sociology major and closing with a gainer full. Just the step forward, but fought to stay on, which was important for them because hopefully Morgan Price can close them out and they can drop that fall. Feels good. Get that beam routine out of the way. Get that stick.
Sage Thompson goes 9.9 in her curtain call. So that ties a career high for Thompson on floor. And here comes Kaitlin Garcia. And for Garcia, it's also her final floor at Gill Coliseum in front of the home folks.
She brings vibes here. 1.5 to front full first pass. Excellent height on that first skill. Gets the crowd clapping. Huge leaps. Also team captain, kinesiology major. Double tuck away from the close of her floor career at Gill. That was so high from our angle. Katie Anakel could have walked underneath that double tuck. Awesome, awesome close. She could have thrown probably 2 twists in that, like we'll see from Jade Carey after this. Look at that. That's awesome. That was right where she is. Opens up, finds the landing. Yeah.
You could see it on her face. I mean, it caught her breath.
Really?
It was so high.
Awesome.
And at the end of her routine,
Right.
on the final pass, Reed Hammond goes 9.575. It's a good score for them, and it sets Morgan Price up. Morgan Price had some early struggles this year on beam, has now found her rhythm, went 9.825 twice.
Her late father played for the Royals. Mom was a cheerleader at Vanderbilt. And we mentioned her sister Frankie, gymnast at Arkansas, who we wish were here tonight.
And Frankie and Kristen, right? Yeah, both Arkansas.
Awesome flight series. I think, I'm not sure about Kristen, definitely no Frankie.
They're reacting to the score for Kaitlin Garcia. In the meantime, Morgan Price has to stay in the zone on the beam.
And this is so fluid, so graceful. Good height. I want to see those eyes up off the beam just a little bit more. See if she can nail this landing, because this has been gorgeous. And oh, just takes a step back, stands up too much, but that double twist, the form on that was awesome. She kept her legs glued together. So many people cross their feet on those double twists. Wow. Morgan Price.
Right, so just moments ago, Kaitlin Garcia getting her score. One of the judges gave her a 10. And the other judge, 9.95. But it's still a career best 9.975 for Kaitlin Garcia in her final floor in front of Beaver Nation. That's awesome. Great way to go out.
Priceless reaction. Great catch there, guys. What a moment to witness. Woo.
So how do you top that? Well, you go to the Olympic gold medalist on the floor, Jade Carey.
Anybody that can.
You know, we were here when she was a freshman at Oregon State, and we said, those 4 years go fast. This is her last floor at home.
Watching her grow and come into her own and own her gymnastics. Collegiate stage international has been incredible. Here's her Syllabage, 2 flips, 2 twists, nails the landing with her dad in the corner.
Next level.
She doesn't have to do that. Hardest pass being done in NCAA.
And her dad's on the floor pulling the sting mat for her. Right there in the white shirt in the background.
Some front tumbling with a little leap at the end. Right on cue. Just coming out of her shell. Just such a treat to watch her. She lands this double tuck. This place is gonna go nuts. With Jade Carey, it's not an if, it's a when.
Plenty of time, plenty of control. Jade Carey. And even Mike Chaplin in the background is asking for the 10.
Yeah, right away.
Demanding the 10.
They're all on their feet.
They want the going away present. I didn't see a lot wrong with it.
Nope.
I mean, you know, they're trying to tamp down on 10s this year. They don't want to give them out. They don't want to water them down. There haven't been a lot given out in college gymnastics this year.
But yeah.
She's had 8 in her career on floor.
And
then
immediately, that took the judges no time at all.
She got it.
Her 9th floor 10 on her last night in Gill.
15th career.
The Fisk team was throwing up 10s for her as well.
I've said it many times before. Jade Carey is perfect.
Let's just take a look back at this Fantastic show. Beautifully landed. Second pass, leap at the end. And the double tuck. Opens it up. Sells the close to the fans.
So Oregon State ends up with a 49.6 in the rotation, way above its average, and just a tick under last week's 49.625 here on the floor against Air Force, but they are peaking at the right time.
Absolutely.
And Oregon State, you know, you and I talked about it coming in. We didn't expect them to go 197.7 again. That was a huge number last week. There's some distractions. They just finished finals. Welcoming in Fisk. They go 197.375. So the scoring is done, but Olivia Buckner now in an exhibition on floor.
Lots of front tumbling this routine. Rudy to a straddle jump. Got to control those. Nicely done. Really emotional moment here. Jade Carey, final routine, final meet in Gill, watching her teammates. Every routine they build in at OSU. Hard tumbling pass here to close for Livia. 2 front fulls. Really got to get the punch. Nicely landed. You can tell she's just welling up here. Wants to go celebrate with Olivia. So important for her to have the team qualify to nationals so they can go with her in her quest for a national title this year.
And stick around, our award ceremony will be starting shortly.
Also, want to call out that Morgan Price went 9-9 on beam.
She sure did. You have to close that rotation out for them. They went 48.450.
If she had not had that step on the double full, would have been right up there near Jade's 10.
So it's above Fisk's average for the year. It's below their season best. They'll end up with just under a 193 for the night. Oregon State again with a 197.375. So that'll help them drop their lowest score at home, so that they'll actually improve their NQS number, which was the goal coming in. And then individually, Jade Carey goes 9-9, 9-9-7-5, 9-9-7-5, and 10 for, if my junior college math serves me well, 39.850. Is that right?
Woo, nice job. That's the hardest you've worked all night.
I didn't even have to take my shoes off. Yeah, counted that all on my fingers.
Wins all the events except ties with Morgan Price on vault.
That's great. Yeah, good for Morgan Price. Something that she'll put on her resume. So a wonderful night in the unofficial senior night. It's the last performance for all the seniors in Gill Coliseum. They go out on top, 197.375.
everybody wanna be like me. I walk around like I own it, I don't need ID. I come to town, any city, every place OD. I take the shreds on my haters, I let them RIP. I know the way I'm growing it, cause you inside. Silver light to showing, burning at your pride. Candy pink, golden roses on my lens. Everybody knew I'm chosen soon as I walked in. All rise, I need a standing ovation. King over any location.
Well, I didn't know how they were going to top last week with the 197.7 against Air Force. Fourth best score in school history, with Jade Carey going 10 on both beam and floor last week. And with that ridiculous 39.925, every time I go to say it, it sounds wrong in my head because it's such an almost unachievable number. But they came back tonight, and even though the score wasn't as good, it was still a big number, not 197.375. I think the emotions, the accomplishments, the seminal moments that we saw tonight, and of course, star of the show, Jade Carey again, the perfect 10 on floor to finish her final performance at Gill. Of course, she had to go out with a 10, 39.850. I don't know what more to say about Jade Carey because the adjectives have been ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure she's, annoyed with herself for not nailing that vault. That's the only thing that's eluded her a little bit this season, kept her from another score in the 39.9s, which, like you said, is preposterous to say.
To have that kind of consistency at that level, I don't know how you keep it up at that level. I mean, she's been a household name now for what, 7 years, 8 years now?
Yeah.
And in gymnastic circles since she was probably a level 8-ish. Yeah.
She was a level 10 gymnast. She was identified at level 10 nationals. The elite national team coordinator said, I think we want you to come to camp. I think your vault and floor are so exceptional that we need that on the U.S. team. And sure enough, she's on 2 Olympic teams and has become an absolute household name in gymnastics with a Barbie.
So yeah, so we're sitting here, we're trying to do the math, and we're going through the results. So she wins vault, and she ties with Morgan Price of Fisk with the 9.9. She wins the bars alone. She wins the beam alone, and she wins the floor, of course, with the 10 alone. So then she wins the all-around. So that's 160 individual victories for her as an Oregon State Beaver. I don't know that, I never want to say records can't be beaten, but you almost have to win every time out. She's undefeated on beam, she's undefeated on floor this year, and now it's on to regionals, and she can add to that number.
And she's never fallen. She has a 100% hit rate in her career. That is ridiculous.
She's 193 out of 193, and I'm glad you brought it up because I had it in my notes, and I said, well, I can't say it during the meet.
You can't jinx her, as if you could.
She's got a perfect game going, and I didn't want to be blamed for it. And then I totally forgot after the meet, so I'm glad you brought it up. Nice work, partner.
You know, the thing about those scores and the accolades is she still wants to get her team there, get her team behind her at nationals to help her win that national title. Because look at that list there. She's been silver medalist on different events in the all-around every year she's been here. Every year she's been in the NCAA.
And then down at the bottom, you see the 13th gymnast to complete the Gym Slam, which is a perfect 10 on all 4 events. She's done it twice, so she has at least 2 perfect 10s on every event, and on floor, she now has 9 career perfect 10s. And she's not done yet. She's still got regionals and the NCAA championships. And
yep.
I'm telling you, and I loved your comment about this is a team you don't want to see in the postseason. And then I backed that up by saying, yeah, because of beam, because beam decides almost every gymnastics meet that we've ever worked. And they get to say goodbye to Jade one more time. And certainly in the regionals and in the postseason throughout, it's the beam. When you look who advances and who gets left behind, it's most often it's decided by beam.
Yep. For the Beavers, since we know they're so strong on beam, where I'm looking for them to really dial it in is on vault. If they're doing those fulls, they need to do the best version of those fulls they can do. They got to dial in those landings, get rid of those hops, and then also get those floor landings.
Yeah, you're dead on. That's their lowest ranking, and it's still 16th in the country. Their lowest average at 49.2. And a lot of people think vault is an easy event. You should just throw up 49.5s every time you go up. Not so, because it has to be so perfect. You know, the way you're coming off the table, the way you enter off the springboard, there's a lot of things to it. So that's the room for growth, right, for them right there. That's where they can go 198.
Yep, vault landings and bar landings. They've got everything on bars. They just got to figure that out, and love this all-around lined up of Sinai Rosby in third, Morgan Price in second, and of course, the inimitable Jade Carey.
Yeah, Oregon State has never gone 198 gymnastics. 197.850 was their all-time best. So for the seniors, and we were talking about it during the break, 8 seniors and grad students on this roster for Oregon State. And you know, when you talk to athletes, and I've done it in all sports, that last game at home, that last football game, the last gymnastics meet, volleyball, it doesn't matter what it is, they linger a little longer on the floor. And they start thinking about all the times they complained about having to go to workout, and I need a day off, and I'm tired. And then all of a sudden, it's over, at least this chapter of it, and you see them almost grow up on the spot. Now they're not done, they go to the second season here. But it'll be the last time they compete in front of Beaver Nation. And I think it starts to dawn on them, because they're in that competition mode, but now they can let it down. Now they're just college kids again, and they start looking around, and they don't want to go. They stay out there and party.
And I also find that the emotions can overwhelm you, and you can have weird things happen in your routines. And they didn't have any of that today. Really kept their composure, really great.
Yeah, because you're trying to be perfect, and you're trying to really leave them with a great memory. But you still, you know, you have to find that sweet spot. You can't over-focus and have too much energy, especially when you're on something like beam.
Oh, especially when there's some sort of recap video with a song like this. Absolute. They want everybody to cry in
you've
here.
Seen it before. Yeah, they're slow motion videos of all these seniors when they first showed up, and they were still apple-cheeked high school kids.
Families welling up. This song gets me every time. And I think they saw this last week.
Yes, you can't see it at home now, so we'll just let you enjoy it.
Oh, man. To close on Carly Chavez, I wanted to bring her up. She was the last one featured there because we didn't see her compete tonight. She got injured this season. But yeah, there she is, Carly. Really the emotional heartbeat of the team, emotional leader. She debuted a Yurchenko 1.5 in the tuck position at Auburn this year, nailed it for 9.9. It was so great to watch her get that on the competition floor. Her season didn't end the way that she wanted it to, but I just wanted to make sure we gave Carly Chavez some love.
That's a pretty tight huddle right there. Best time of your life. 4, maybe 5 years of college. You got interrupted by COVID.
Those were the sophomores there crying on that other group, just in anticipation of losing this class. Although, you know, we asked Tanya, where are people at with potential fifth years? Does anyone have a redshirt year available? And there's been some conjecture out in the world that maybe Jade could have a fifth year available to her. And of course, Tanya was very mum. All she said.
When you asked that question, I started thinking I didn't even know that had been a possibility. And when I was talking about it, but
so
I mean, who wouldn't want her to come back other than opponents?
So she was, all Tanya said was she was on the roster during the COVID year. She was taking classes remotely. She was on the roster. So truly know nothing more than that.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Well, it would be awesome to do this all over again with Jade, but if not,
oh yeah,
it was a great way for her to go out.
Absolutely.
I know we've personally seen about half of her perfect 10s.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun ride. We've been lucky to go through this with a bunch of them. Kaitlin Garcia leading the Go Beavs cheer after the third rotation. She had a pretty good night herself on both vault and floor.
We had to pull her away from that emotional moment with her teammates so we could spend some time here.
Yeah, they're putting the headset on her right now, so we'll get her as soon as she's ready. We're watching the reaction of Kaitlin Garcia when she saw that one of the judges had given her a 10, and she ends up with a career best 9.975 on floor, and Kaitlin joins us now. Kaitlin, I know this has been an amazing night. It's been an emotional night. Let's kind of go backwards and let's start with the floor. Your reaction afterwards was so genuine, and you looked surprised. 9.975, we thought you deserved it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been working really hard, but just, you know, the gymnast that I've kind of developed into. You know, I didn't come in here as this big #1 gymnast, so just ending my senior year here at Gill with getting a 10, it was just, I was so shocked. It was amazing.
So I know you're emotional right now. I don't want to pile on, but what has this program meant to you, and how have you developed over the years?
Oh my gosh, it has meant so much to me. It's not only a sisterhood. These are just girls that, you know, I do gymnastics with. I go home and I live with them, and, you know, we go through so many ups and downs together with challenges inside of the gym, outside of the gym, and the staff has just been so supportive and amazing over the years that I've not just only grown as a gymnast, but they've set me up to succeed for the future, and I'm just so beyond grateful that I have been part of Oregon State Gymnastics.
Kaitlin, you're a San Diego girl. How'd you get out of the sun? He was 75 when I left today and came up here. And, you know, I was talking about kids coming from Arizona and Southern California to come to the Northwest. My niece came here and was a gymnast at Oregon State, and she loved it because it was so different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, San Diego's this big city. There's traffic everywhere, and it was a big change at first, but I've grown to love it. I'm in love with Corvallis. It's been just an amazing college town, and I couldn't have asked for anything else.
Hey, your final pass on floor had us leaning back in our chairs. It was huge. Did you surprise yourself?
Honestly, I just went out there and I was like, if I do my normal, I'm good. And I think I just kind of did what I practiced. So once I dropped it in, I knew it, and it felt amazing.
Oh, that was final performance juice. That's what that was. That was huge.
Totally.
So,
hey, tell us about the Go Beavs chant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm so lucky and grateful that I got to do it this year. It warms my heart that I get to go out there and I get to be part of the crowd a little bit more and just get to yell and get everyone excited for floor.
So while this is the last home meet, you have big things ahead in the postseason. What are you guys looking for as you head to regionals?
We're really hoping to go out there and just do our normal. I know I've said that, and we say it a lot, but it's like our normal gymnastics, it's enough. And we're just excited to go out there and show everyone how amazing we are and the good gymnastics that we know we can do.
Kaitlin, everybody enjoys their college experience. Yours is unique here at Oregon State. This town, Beaver Nation, but you also got to compete with an Olympic gold medalist who somehow managed to blend into this team and become just another teammate.
Yeah, totally. To be completely honest with you, when I committed to Oregon State, I wasn't even aware of Jade Carey at the time. I know, it sounds crazy, but I'm so grateful that I've been able to create a connection with her and like experience gymnastics of her level, and just, she's really been a really big part of my 4 years, so it's been awesome.
We were watching that video that they put together up on the board. We've seen 1,000 of those. And poor Elisa always ends up in a puddle of tears. I was even misty after it. What was it like for you guys to watch that, especially when they're going back and showing some of the gymnasts as club kids at 7 and 8? That's what gets me the most.
Totally. I mean, I think it's just the growth, because it's, you don't just start this journey your freshman year. We've been doing this since we were 2-3 years old, and now we're starting real life soon after undergrad.
Hold it off.
And so it's insane. It's amazing feeling just to see your growth, to see the connections that you've built with everyone, and just like it's a celebration, and you're just so grateful that you have had those moments with everyone, and it definitely brought me to tears quite a bit.
So the celebration atmosphere was just enhanced by the crowd at Gill the last 2 weeks. What sort of parting words do you want to leave for Beaver Nation?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Beaver Gymnastics would not be what it is without you guys. You show up all the time. You come with love and support, and not just for us, but the other teams that are here. You guys mean so much to us, and I just want to say thank you.
Kaitlin, your last performance, your last time competing in Gill Coliseum in front of Beaver Nation. I know, and I've seen this many times, the seniors will linger a little bit longer on the floor on this night as it starts to dawn on them, and they start to wonder, next time I come in this building, I'm going to be a civilian. As you leave, as you walk through the tunnel for the last time, and I'm watching your teammates walk out right now, will you take that last moment? Will you turn around, and what will flash through your mind?
Same what I've been saying, gratitude, love, just so grateful that I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to be here for these past 4 years and just grow into the person that I am, and really soak it in for the last time of being on this floor as an athlete. So yeah.
We appreciate you sharing all that with us and all the time, but more importantly, all the great performances over the years. You'll be remembered in this building for an awful long time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Don't start real life yet.
Good luck
I got a few months.
Go to grad school.
Yeah, totally. Planning on it.
Thank you, Kaitlin. Go enjoy it with your teammates.
Thank you.
Good luck at regionals.
Thank you.
Now, that was awesome. Good for her. And, to watch her go 9.975, place erupts, everybody goes crazy. She's obviously super popular with her teammates. And then Jade Carey comes right behind with the 10. I mean, that's the perfect way to close it out.
Yeah. Because we were talking about how do you top senior night? How do you top the score in front of the record crowd? And it's with moments like that. It was showing that these athletes have more to give and they need more in the tank. We need them to bring full tank to regionals, get to day 2, and then get to Fort Worth.
I'm going to leave you with one final number. Tonight, for Tanya Chaplin, that's win number 498 as the Oregon State head coach. She could get 500 in the regionals. For our entire crew, Dave Feldman, your producer, Ross Miller, your director, Elisa Mao, my partner, I'm Jim Watson saying so long from the great Gill Coliseum and Oregon State University, one of the best college towns in all of America. Oregon State, 197-375, and now it's on to the second season.